Hello everyone, welcome back to the Spoody channel. Today I will be going through my predictions, my pick'ems if you will, for the play-in tournament and only the first round of the playoffs. So then after the first round of the playoffs I'll come back, reevaluate, and kind of go from there. So yeah, also before I get started, this is a combination of kind of who I want to move on and who I think is going to move on. So if there's some disagreements, that might be where those disagreements spur from. And also, let me know if you disagree. You guys are going to disagree with me, I'm sure. But although I think a lot of the first round matchups are maybe not in the West and maybe not in the middle of the East, but a lot of them are pretty, the consensus is pretty uniform for, I feel like, a lot of NBA fans. But I don't know. We'll see if you guys like Spoody's his pick'em. So also before I start, I will like go back after the first round, like I mentioned, and go through the second round and so on, and see what I got right, what I got wrong. So let's start off with both plans for the East and the West, and I actually think that the East plans will be harder to predict than the West plans. I think it's because I'm not very high on the Mavericks. Even with AD, if he's playing, I have no clue his status. I would also like to mention that I have no idea what's going on in the NBA. Okay, that's maybe not that true. I follow the NBA, but I'm not a guru when it comes to the NBA and basketball, so just keep that in mind. But let's start with the plan. And also, I would like to preface by saying I ate a banana before I'm doing this. I think I'm slightly allergic to bananas because my throat is swelling up, and with the spring pollen in the air, it's really not helping. So it's really bad right now. But anyway, let's go. Play-in. First game that is going to be played is going to be the Hawks versus the Magic. I'm going to take the Magic. I originally had the Hawks, but then I realized the Magic are relatively healthy. So I say relatively, I mean they're as healthy as they're going to be, but they're not. They have Paulo and Franz back, I think. Unless Franz is out for the year, I have no clue. I probably should know that. But I still feel like the Magic at home, their defense is still really solid against pretty much Trae Young and Zachary Richichet, who dropped, 38 recently. I have the Magic moving to the 7th seed to face the Celtics. Again, these are two teams I'm not really knowledgeable on as much, but I have a feeling that, as much as I love rooting for Trae Young, I have the Magic in the 7th slot against the Celtics. So next up we have the Bulls and the Heat. I'm going to just go out on a limb here and say the Bulls. The Heat have not looked impressive, especially after that Bub Carrington game-winning bank shot for the win over Javi Jaquez. I don't know if the Miami Heat were resting all their guys. I actually think they were, because I remember seeing Bam in street clothes alongside Tyler Hero. So that loss isn't as bad as it seems, because I'm pretty sure it had no merit to them, because as you can see, the win-loss record between them and the Bulls is practically, that's not a one-game difference, that's a couple of game difference. So I don't think them winning or losing that last game would have affected them that much. But anyway, I have the Bulls over the Heat. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes the other way. I just am a big fan of Josh Giddey, and I feel like Chicago's always in the play-in, so I don't know. I would like to see them into the playoffs. I think the last time they were in the playoffs was with Lonzo. I think they were the 5th seed or something. I can't remember, but I would like to see the Bulls in the playoffs. Hence why I have the Bulls over the Hawks for the final spot to face the Cavs as the 8th seed. Do I think the Bulls will win that game? No, especially because the Hawks will be at home. Would I like to see the Bulls win that game? Yes, and that's why I'm going to put them in the 8th seed. The Bulls have been playing better as of late. I think they've struggled a little bit, but they've been better at least at the turn of the calendar year, I think. Josh Giddey went crazy for a bit. That's really all I know. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say for that. Next up, playing in the West, I'm going to have Kings over Mavericks. I'm not impressed. The Mavericks are just injury-ridden. Like, their whole team is out. AD's back, but Kyrie's out for the season. I don't see a way where they can win twice to get in, much less, or I don't see a time or a place where they can win one time, let alone 2 times, versus the Kings and versus the loser of the Warriors and the Grizzlies. So I'm going to have the Kings at least moving on to the second play-in game, and the Mavs are getting bounced. And then for the Warriors and the Grizzlies, I have the Warriors. I feel like that game could go either way, especially because it's just one game. The Grizzlies have not. I mean, they fired their coach. I don't know. I do think that them having a really close game against the Clippers actually impressed me more with the Warriors, because the Clippers have been one of the best teams in basketball. I think their net rating is 2 in the last 15 games. So I'm very high on the Clippers, and thus the Warriors losing on a Draymond Green missed layup and a Buddy Hield missed 3. I think I can live with saying the Warriors are going to beat the Grizzlies in that game, especially because they're at home. And then the Kings and the Grizzlies, I feel like that could actually go either way. The Kings have been better, I think, as of late. And so I think just because I like the Kings, I like Sabonis more, I'm gonna go Kings over Grizzlies. But again, the Grizzlies have a good enough roster. I mean, they're 48-34. I can't put that past them, especially because they've been solid against the teams that they need to beat, and teams below 500. And in this case, the Kings are. Now, I will say the Kings have a bit more personnel on their team, so it's going to be interesting to see that game. That game could go either way. I'm going to say the Kings beat the Grizzlies, but again, with the Grizzlies at home, that could go either way. So next up, I'm going to go back to the East. We'll go for the first round, and I'll end it at the first round like I mentioned before. We had Cavs, and then I picked the Bulls as the 8th seed there. And like I said, I think that if it's whether it's the Bulls or the Hawks, they maybe snag a game from the Cavs. I don't see the Cavs giving up anything more than a game. The Cavs have been really dominant. They almost beat the Pacers with their second unit. Now the Pacers didn't shoot well, but still, the Cavs are a really good team. I don't see them dropping more than a game, if even a game, to any of the other teams in this play-in section. I'll go down to the 2 versus 7 slot, the Celtics versus the who'd I have? Magic. I think the Magic could steal a game. I wouldn't bet on it, but I feel like I almost feel more confident in the Magic scoring a game over the Celtics than the Bulls scoring a game over the Cavs. And I mean, that's just because I feel like the Celtics sometimes have a habit of maybe dropping one game, if that. But then again, the Celtics, I think, are my favorites to get out of the East. So just saying they give up a game here is not like saying they're not ready to compete for a championship. They're obviously, in my opinion, they are the favorite to win the championship still, even behind the Thunder, Lakers, Cavs, and whoever else you want to put up there. But I am going to say that they could drop a game to the Magic, but that's about it. Nothing more than that. One of the more anticipated matchups of the first round, at least on the East side, Knicks versus Pistons. I feel like the Knicks are a little bit underrated. I know they're 0-10 now against, or maybe it's 1-10 against the Cavs, Celtics, and Pistons. I think they've won once against the Pistons in the regular season. I will say that does make them a little bit underrated because everybody's kind of not writing them off, but basically saying, they're worse than I think they actually are. Especially with that first round home court. I just don't see a world where the Pistons win in 7. Now, I will say they have Jaden Ivey back, but that could do more harm than good because they've been doing well as of late. And if you want to try to mix in Jaden Ivey with the current lineup that they have, that could have some chemistry issues, or they could not play up to their full potential, I guess, or what they have been playing at. So I think the Pistons are good, and they are a threat. I wouldn't be surprised if they win in 7. But I have the Knicks in 6 here. But again, 6, 7 for the Knicks to win, or 7 for the Pistons to win are probably my 3 likeliest outcomes. I'm going to say Knicks in 6, though. I think the Pistons give them a good couple games. They win maybe the 1 or 2 at home, or 1 at home, and maybe the 4th away game. Or I guess I should say the 5th game that's away. But that's about it. And then for the Pacers and the Bucks, I have the Pacers regardless of if Dame is coming back or not. I'm also a huge Pacers fan, so no bias there. But I have the Pacers winning in 6 or 7. I'm going to go ahead and say 7 because Giannis is a beast. I don't think Dame's coming back in this series. I don't think he's coming back at all. at least for this series, unless they move on and I'm wrong on my predictions. But I, I don't know. Shams reported that he could be back. I think there was a test that he had to do this early in this week, and if he cleared it or whatever, then he might be good to go. But from everything I've heard on blood clots, you heard from Victor, it's not the same location of the blood clot, but I feel like he's not coming back. I feel like they're going to do what they did with Giannis last year, where they kind of tease it and maybe like strike fear in their opponent a little bit with like them coming back, but I don't think he's actually going to come back. And that's my kind of consensus on that. Giannis is going to keep the Bucks in this game. Kevin Porter Jr. has been good as of late. Let's see. Pat Connaughton dropped 43. I don't even know if he'll be getting rotational minutes in the playoffs, but I don't know. I feel like if you have a guy that dropped 43, maybe. But I do have the Pacers. I feel like, I think they have the fourth best net rating since the calendar year. I could be wrong on that, but it doesn't really change my viewpoint. Even if I'm wrong, I still think even being a big fan of them, I think they're one of the dark horses to come out of maybe not the East, but come out of the second round in the East, kind of like last year. So I got on this side Cavs in 4, Pacers in we'll go 6. Now if Dame comes back, I'll say 7. Knicks in 6, and Celtics in 5. Now on to the West side of things. Thunder are going to be going against, I think I said the Kings. Or did I say the Grizzlies? This is kind of bad that I don't remember. I said the Kings, but I got Thunder in 4. I think you couldn't. I mean, not the Grizzlies. The West itself is so stacked. You could give them a game, or you could give any team against the Thunder a game, but I feel like giving a game to the opponent of the Thunder is just kind of negating everything that the Thunder have done. Like, I feel like it's kind of disrespectful. The Thunder are really, really, really good, and I don't think they drop a game in the first round, similar to the Cavs. I know, hot take. We'll go Rockets versus Warriors. This is interesting because I know the Rockets have been really, really good. I know they're a young team, so there's some questions on their playoff experience. And then there's the Warriors, who have been good, especially with the addition of Jimmy Butler. I actually have a hard time picking either way. This might be, I don't know. This is very difficult because the Rockets, the fact that they're 53-30, they are a great team. Their coach is really, really good. Not a lot of playoff experience, but then you have the opposite of that, the Warriors, who have a lot of playoff experience with Jimmy and Draymond and Steph, and of course Buddy Hield, the GOAT, who didn't really have a lot of playoff experience prior to coming to the Warriors, besides the Pacers a little bit. But it's really hard to write off Steph and the Warriors. I think I'm going to go Warriors in 7. I'm going to say Warriors in 7. Maybe I'm giving the Rockets too much credit or not enough credit. I really don't know. Or maybe I'm giving the Warriors too much credit. Let me know in the comments. But I'm going to go Warriors in 7 for that one. Then we'll jump up to Nuggets and Clippers. I'm going to have the Clippers in 7. This very well could be the best first round in the entire series. I think Zubac is like kind of criminally underrated a little bit. But then again, he's going against Jokic, so it doesn't matter how underrated you are. You still have to compete with the MVP. Sorry, Shea. Shea is a close second for me, though. Trust me. But I got Clippers in 7. The Clippers have one of the best net ratings. I think they're second in net rating in the last. If it's not the last 15 games, it's somewhere close to that. They've been on a tear recently, and so I don't know. I don't know why you would fire your coach 2 weeks before the playoffs. That just doesn't even make sense. Like that. Even if you're gonna part ways, you can part ways with him after the season ends. I don't understand that. At least he won you a championship. At least I know he lost the locker room, but I feel like you'd give him at least the courtesy to, I don't know, try to compete in the playoffs. So that kind of was a little upsetting there that they fired him. Malone, that is. But I'm going to go Clippers in 7. I don't really have much to say. Again, I'm not a basketball guru, but that's pretty much that. Finally, we got Lakers and the Wolves. I'm just going to go out and say Lakers in 6. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't think the Wolves match up great with the Lakers starting lineup. You got Mike Conley starting for the Wolves, I think. I mean, I feel like everybody on the Lakers is at least 6'6". Maybe Austin Reeves is 6'5", but it's going to be hard for... I assume what Finch is going to do is he's going to have, like, Naz Reid come in and play some minutes, or get him into the game early to maybe guard Rui. I don't know. I don't know. I just think the Lakers are just... Since they got Luka, they've been better. I watched the game with the Lakers against the Pacers, and while the Pacers did almost win that game, the Lakers looked really, really good. You got Gabe Vincent on there, so I don't know. I don't really have a lot to say. These are just my predictions, and like I said, I don't know the most about basketball, but let me know where I'm wrong. Let me know where I'm right. I have the Lakers in 6. So just to recap, Thunder in 4, Clippers in 7, Lakers in 6, Warriors in 7. I'm not too confident on the Rockets and the Warriors and the Clippers and the Nuggets, but I think everything else will be close. Then for the East, I feel like my East predictions are pretty solid. Could be wrong, but maybe I'm not giving the Pistons enough love, but I don't know. They'll have to show me in the playoffs, I guess. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Please, I'm sure I'm wrong in many instances, so let me know. And hopefully you guys enjoyed. This content is vastly different from what I've been doing, so yeah, let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. See ya.